And we're on. Welcome to Timeless Personal Growth and Development. My apologies. I've not been consistent in the last few weeks of posting these videos. Usually I'm pretty good at it. Been distracted. A lot of stuff. I'm gonna try to be back to a little more consistency with the weekly videos. But today, child development. Talk about teaching your kids, or more specifically, teaching them what you've never been taught. When we have kids for the first time, it's life-changing, completely. Your entire world gets flipped upside down. I would know, because it just happened to me almost 3 months ago. Entire life got flipped upside down. And you start thinking about stuff. You start thinking about the future. Like, oh, what's the future going to be like with my child? What are the things I'm going to do with them? I think like that all the time. With my son, I think about it all the time. Oh, when he's old enough to go for hikes and go fishing and go boating and do stuff like that. Like, what's the kind of stuff I want to teach him? What are the core values I want to instill in him? And we want to raise our kids in a way that we've kind of missed out on certain things. Nobody's childhood, no such thing as the perfect childhood. There's no such thing as a perfect human, as the perfect parent. It's impossible. No parent's perfect. But you got to accept parents and accept your childhood for kind of the flaws that were in there. It wasn't perfect. Life isn't perfect. There's always something to improve on, always something to get better at. And you can think about that. You can ask yourself that. Well, what's something in my childhood that I would have liked things done a little differently? I don't know. There's no course in becoming a parent. There's no training. It's just, reproduce and, you're 9 months later, your child is here. Oh, great. There's YouTube videos now. Thanks for YouTube. You can go online and check it out and get ideas, or listen to podcasts, or listen to child development experts, and this is the best way to raise your child. But at the end of the day, you're a parent. You get to decide how you want to raise them. You decide how you want to raise them. And especially if you're a parent who's always like longing to have children. Oh, you finally have kids. I'm going to be the best parent in the world. Yeah, I have that mentality. I still do. Yeah, I'm going to be the best parent in the world. I'm going to be perfect and awesome and fully dedicated and everything. Like, I'm not going to be perfect. My son is super, super young right now. Super young. It's too early to tell how good of a job I'm doing, but I'm not going to be perfect. There's stuff I'm going to mess up on. Don't know what it is, but time will tell. But what I want to do when it comes to my parenting and raising my son is being able to teach him the things that I was never taught, essentially. And there's going to be a bunch of things maybe that I mess up on, or I miss out on being able to teach him, obviously. I wasn't taught everything in the world perfectly at every time. No, I had developmental issues. I had learning disabilities. I struggled in school. You're never taught what you need to be taught at the right moment. There's always obstacles. There's always challenges. And I fully accept that into the development of my child. And I accept the fact that, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be a perfect road. There's going to be bumps in the road. He's going to have some development issues. I'm going to help him out. I'm going to work through that. But I want to be able to teach, like, the things that I've learned along the way. Maybe I've learned on my own. Maybe someone has taught me. But mostly the things that I've been able to learn on my own, I want to be able to teach him that. when he's of age. Certain little things about life that I wasn't really taught at a young age, or maybe I didn't take seriously enough when I should have taken it seriously. But you grow, and it's all a learning experience, and kids will get more value out of being taught the things that you were never taught, and spending time with your kids. Yeah, you got to get it there, and you got to provide, and you got to work, but what are you going to do when you're not working? When you're not working and you're not making money and you're at home, what are you going to do? That's your time right there. That's your teaching time. That's your open window to do what you need to do as a parent, as a mother and a father, to teach and be with your kids and play. Because there is play in, and there is teaching in play. You play with your kids, you are essentially teaching them in a certain form, in a certain fashion. You're actually building their play skills, which builds their emotional skills, which builds their social skills. So they learn how to play with each other, so they develop those social skills. I was raised as an only child. A lot of the people that I know have friends that were raised as only children, no siblings, and they had to spend a lot of time alone, a lot of time being by themselves. So they kind of, not going to say hindered any social skills, but they didn't have that play with their siblings. So they didn't develop certain social skills with their siblings that they could have. So they got to get it first somewhere else. If my son only ends up being the only child I have, I want to make sure that I teach him certain social skills and certain play skills. And I do that by spending time with him, by playing with him, and enjoying just father-son time together. And, well, we always want to give, when you have kids, you always want to give your kids, I want to just give them what I never had. I never got this growing up. I never got this toy for Christmas growing up, so I want to give them this. What's more valuable is actually teaching them the things that you were never taught. Toys, things, material objects, you throw them out eventually. They go in the trash at some point in your life, but teaching them skills, teaching them competency skills, teaching them a skill that they can put under their tool belt, and they'll be able to use that skill for the rest of their life as they grow into an adult. Now that is valuable. That is super, super valuable. Now, if you know you have a skill, something that you learn on your own, that you were never taught by your own parents, and you want to teach them that skill, well, that is extremely valuable, because that will never expire. That skill, you'll never throw it out like an old toy. It will never have an expiry date, because they may be able to, maybe they're not using that skill later in life, in their work, their profession, no matter what they do, but at least they have that skill. One skill that I was taught, and this is a skill that maybe I didn't value it as much when I was a little bit younger, but I'm sure as hell valuing it now, is money skills. My mother taught me great money skills. Great money skills, and how to budget, and how to save, and how to invest, and that's a valuable skill that I'm glad my mother taught me that. I'm very happy with that, because I see a lot of people that I know who have horrible money skills, horrible budgeting, they don't know how to save, how to invest, understanding inflation and how dollar goes up with time and the value of your money goes up, like understanding all that. And I was, like I said, I was never never really valued it, but I sure as hell value it now in my mid-30s, and that's a skill that I'm glad my mother taught me. Because I see people with horrible money skills and are in debt and they owe so much money, and thankfully I don't because I'm really good with it. But that was a skill that I was taught. And if I was never taught with that, I might be putting myself in debt too. That's honestly, money skills, man, that is something super, super valuable skill to have as an adult, and it's a real shame that you don't get taught that in high school. The real shame. Maybe a little bit in high school, very briefly, but really, really in depth. Teaching finance skills really, really in depth, like proper finance skills and understanding the economy to a great extent. There's so much to learn there. It's a super helpful skill anytime you're going to buy a car, going to buy a house, or saving for the future. Super important, and I'm glad that's a skill that I was taught. And I'm glad because I will be able to give that skill to my son. But there's also a bunch of new other skills that I wasn't taught, that I learned on my own. That I will be able to pass on that to him. Because he's got plenty of Christmases, plenty of birthdays, he's gonna have plenty of toys. Toys later when he's an adult he won't remember, but he sure as hell will remember the skills that I will teach him. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. If you like this video, comment, subscribe, like. Help get this channel up. Timeless personal growth and development, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good one.